Aptera, a car that sells itself. A number of you who have been following my channel would have known the fact that I've had the privilege of experiencing Aptera in the flesh a couple of times. I'm one of the few that have actually been able to drive it occasionally, but let me tell you, from the moment this thing joined the road, this vehicle pretty much commands attention. Only a few moments into our very first drive, and people at stoplights were already trying to get us to roll down the window to give them the lowdown on this other out of sci-fi vehicle. But my recent encounter with the Aptera Gamma prototype in a crowded public setting was particularly enlightening. That was a moment when I felt that indeed the vehicle would sell itself. I'm not here to belittle the efforts of Aptera's marketing and PR teams. There are some very talented folks working over there, but the Aptera has this way of turning heads in a way that I've never seen anything do before. I got to see it last weekend in Carmel, which was conveniently located near where we were staying with friends. We decided to stop by the Gamma prototype one more time and to catch up with the awesome crew at Aptera, who coincidentally were on the site again. It was a great time talking to everybody once again in person about what progress they're making and exactly how most of the production parts are starting to be fitted at the factory. The next few months for Aptera will be incredibly exciting. One of the more interesting things I found about sighting the Aptera in the Carmel environment was that it was in a car show filled with supercars, expensive Ferraris, Bugatti, and G-Wagons everywhere. All the same, of all the high-end vehicles on display, the Aptera was catching more attention despite its relatively affordable price tag. We saw Cybertrucks and Hummers driving by, with people rolling down their windows to take pictures of the Aptera and ask, "What is that thing?" My wife, friends, and I all saw this vehicle drawing a crowd. I mean, like nothing else at the show. The scene was literally being caused by the Aptera. On account of this, many people would, excitedly, see that they either crossed the street and caused traffic or formed columns across the sideways, hindering people from walking further. It felt like a celebrity visited the town or the city, only that it was not a person, but this vehicle that is a catch to one's eyes, running on solar power. I overheard many people asking the Aptera employees questions such as, does it really charge off of solar? And how much range can it get per day? The more employees shared radical tidbits of the product and its future production plans, the more people scanned QR codes and learned more about the brand. This was the first time many had ever heard of Aptera. Their initial reactions were just so thrilling to witness. A new segment of buyers? I don't want to go too crazy with Aptera hype, but there were a lot of very wealthy people at that car show who found the vehicle to be very interesting. They were tantalized with possibilities of a sporty two-seater, three-wheeler that used sunlight for power and can cover long distances, even though it is a lightweight vehicle. Many of them were obviously impressed and ever mentioned having placed down deposits. What dawned on me then, though, was that, for the most part, the Aptera was gathering about the same level of interest and questions as all the super and hypercars on show, yet fitting in quite well with them. That consideration could be a marker of a change in the market trajectory for Aptera. Although Aptera has positioned itself as an affordable, mass-market vehicle, at least to start, this order book could rather easily take them towards more premium segments. That's one thing that other startups like Tesla also do. Go for higher margin vehicles to build a solid financial footing first before slashing prices down to more affordable levels later on. The financial realities of an EV startup. During the course of preparing this article, I took another look at the bill of materials provided in the deck of startup EV manufacturer Aptera. It pretty clearly shows that the most expensive single component is very much not the vehicle's battery pack. That's probably because, in the first place, the whole thing is a whole lot smaller than the offering on many other EVs. This got me thinking about the company's manufacturing strategy. Aptera has said that it will have an easier time making a lower range model to start because it just needs to cut down the number of battery modules. That said, based on the type of demand I saw anecdotally from people interested in higher priced variants, it might be more prudent for Aptera to launch focusing on those premium versions. If battery prices continue to plunge, Aptera may simply find it profitable to offer 600-mile or even 1,000-mile variants. Such models would attract higher-end customers willing to pay a premium for a vehicle with that particular set of capabilities, especially in demographics where people are used to paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for vehicles made out of carbon fiber or vehicles that turn heads in the same manner that the Aptera may. Die-hard fans of Aptera fear the company will eventually leave behind its original goal of delivering the cheapest car possible. If the difference in price between a 400-mile ranged model versus a 200-mile one is of the order of $3,000, it is nearly impossible that consumers are not going to demand being given the additional range. In the end, compared to the launch edition at $37,000, even a lower range version at $33,000 doesn't make for dramatic marginal savings, which will sway buyers. If someone was interested in Aptera for the first reason alone, because it was a $26,000 EV, then they might be let down. If Aptera can actually command better margins on higher priced models with more range and features, that will very likely help the company become profitable more quickly. That would be able to place the company and, of course, down the line, offer affordable models as volume production begins and the cost comes. The balancing act of a high-value product with low enough costs on its side in order to ensure the company's financial sustainability. The 601,000-mile range EV powered by the sun that enables its own self-charging system is something the Aptera vehicle sits alone in the market with. Even then, these models would be on the expensive side, but still a sight cheaper than the nearest competitor, the Lucid Air Grand Touring, which is priced over $100,000. The Lucid Air is a more luxurious, faster, higher capacity sedan, all these in comparison to an Aptera. Yet all the same, to many people, even a two-seater is fine. Most cars on the road are just transporting one person or two at the most, which makes Aptera a smarts for someone looking for a unique, sustainable, and efficient vehicle. What could be more luxurious than this carbon fiber car that draws its power from the sun and provides a 600-mile range? The Aptera is going to be virtually irresistible to those who will have no problem buying a luxury vehicle. They will not have to waste their time charging up at various roadside filling stations on a long journey, because the Aptera can reach just about anywhere on the road chain, then start off fresh. And even when it has to be charged, it does it right there where it is, with no wires or charging infrastructure. There are enough premium features that Aptera could build in without increasing the production cost very much, but these features would indeed give the company reasonable opportunities to charge premium prices for its vehicles. The basic design and functionality provided make the Aptera a standout within a crowded market, and this was further driven home by the amount of attention it was receiving at the car show. As in any startup, much more so in the automotive industry, there can be shifts in strategy as the company evolves. At this stage, with Aptera still largely a hypothetical product, no deliveries yet, its fan base might be composed of people excited about the prospect of having a $26,000 EV. But of course, once production starts and demand increases, more from those who show an interest in the higher range versions, Aptera may inherently turn more towards a premium market approach. This might leave some of the early fans feeling a bit neglected in the short term, but it's actually a pretty common practice among other EV manufacturers, such as Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid. Economic models are possible because one can start with the high-priced models that command good margins and work downwards as production scales up. Once Aptera is selling in higher numbers and revenue is more predictable, the company will find it easier to cut costs to offer cheaper models. I think this is most likely the road Aptera will travel down, catering to higher-end products at first, then slowly moving down the price spectrum as the company matures. The future of Aptera: affordable EVs and solar-powered freedom. After all, there is little doubt at the end of the day that Aptera will strive to bring the most cost-effective EV in the world. In fact, if you look at the total cost of ownership today, the Aptera is miles ahead because one reaps thousands of free miles a year on it because of the solar charging capability. Those are free miles for which you won't find an equivalent in a Tesla, Lucid, Rivian, or any gas-powered car. So what do you say? Does Aptera need to be racing to market lower cost models even now, even if it can only drop the price by a few $1,000s? Or do you think it might be better for the company to target the premium end of the market first, providing more range and better features and commanding higher margins to ensure its long term success? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And a big shout out to everybody who supports the channel directly. You all rock. Now, viewing the videos fully through also does a big help. So thank you for that as well. Have an excellent rest of your day.